Hello and welcome to a Word in You season. This is your brother and your friend Jonathan Lagang, and I want to share with us something that I trust will bless us because it affects every one of us. Whatever you do in life, whether you're a businessman, an entrepreneur, a student, a lecturer, a communicationist, a pastor, a minister, at one level or the other in our journeys in life, we have had to handle or had to make do with failure. And the question is, how do we handle failure? A lot of us attempt to do certain things and we fail in our attempts. And then we give into the depression and the frustration that comes with failing. But you see, there are things that we need to understand. When you fail, you only understand or you learn better how not to do what you do. We know of the scientist Thomas Edison who invented the light bulb and how many times it was captured that he failed trying to attempt it. I believe that when we fail, we understand how not to do what we do. So that's the number one point. Realize that in failure, understanding is achieved. And so it's not a waste. Jesus' disciple couldn't cast out the demon, and they went back to him to find out why. So the other point there is that failure leads us to the source of all wisdom, which is God. When you fail in trying to start up a business, or when you fail in your academic pursuit, or whatever it is that you do in ministry, what do? Do you give in to depression? Do you get frustrated and quit? Or do you run back to the source of all wisdom, which is God? And the Bible tells us that if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of him. So when we fail, we are led to the source of all wisdom and not the problem. You see, failure is not in failing to try, but when you stop trying. In other words, you fail when you stop making attempts. Elijah was praying for rain to come as God had told him it would, and he kept on praying, receiving negative results. But after 7 times, he got the rain. The question is, if Elijah had stopped at the 4th time, or the 5th time, or perhaps even the 6th time, would he have gotten the result? No. So failure is actually when we stop making attempts. You see, and there's something about making attempts that we need to understand. We label our attempts as mistakes. And I really think we can get a better nomenclature for that. Your mistakes are not mistakes, as it were. They're actually attempts. When you try out something new, it's like an adventure. So when you are trying out something new, you get to look at your mistakes as attempts. Otherwise, if we call them mistakes and label them bad, then we are trying to take away the freedom of creativity. You see, even God took his time to create the entire earth. And so we need to understand and learn from the adventure as we continue. And then lastly, we learn not to quit at what we do. Many examples in the Bible show us that this is true. Learning not to quit. Isaac dug wells 3 times. Elijah prayed 7 times. Numerous examples we have. If they had stopped at some point, we will not celebrate the success that they have. So I think these 4 points together will give us an interesting concept on how to handle failure. That when you fail, you actually succeeded, because in failure is when we receive understanding and wisdom to become better at what we do and to become more successful. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Audio Jungle.